Alrighty. There's another one of these too. I have over 80 digital pops in my collection, and today we're gonna be taking a look at all of them. That's right, from 2021 all the way up to 2024. I would say 2025, but those ones just haven't arrived yet. The sets are too new. Also, thank you to Funko and Drop for sponsoring this video. Now, the first set Funko ever released was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and this is the only one that I have from that collection. The way that you're able to get this one here is by completing the set, and if you got every single one of the cards, you're able to get this Freddy as a turtle here. I love that he's got the skateboard as well as the turtle shell backpack, and the way his mask is really does look fun, and then the Funko hat. They did an amazing job with this. Also, this is from the first set ever, and it released back in August of 2021, August 3rd to be exact. Okay, now hold on. Before we continue, I feel like I should explain a little bit how the drops actually work. The difference between the packs is literally just the amount of cards you get, and the more you spend on them, the more you save. Because the standard ones come with 5, but when you get to the premium ones, you get 17, so it's like the price of 3, but with 2 extra. And then when it comes to the Mythics, they've only done it a few times, but you actually get a physical figure guaranteed, and you can only get them inside of those Mythic packs. I so far have got every single one of them. It's just too bad none of those ones have shipped yet because they're some of my favorites. And also, I'm going to be talking about different levels of figures, and it really is just the amount that they've created of each. And there are 4 different types of figures you can get. There is Ultra, which is the easiest ones to pull. They usually have around like 4,000 to 5,000 pieces. That's why more people get them. Then there is Legendary, and those ones have anywhere from like 1,500 all the way up to 3,000. It really just depends on how many pops they actually made for that set. Or also the amount of packs that they've created, because some of them can get as limited as like, I don't know, 10,000, when others go up to like 30,000. Then there is Grail, and there's only 999 of the Grail figures, so less than 1,000, and they're usually the most sought after. The Grail ones are usually pretty crazy as well, and I've got a bunch that we're going to be checking out today. I can't wait to get into them. And then if you're able to get every single card from the set, you will get a royalty, which is usually limited to about 2,000 to 3,000, and it's usually of Funko's mascots, whether it be Freddy, Proto, or Franny. And again, very similar to all of the others, I have a bunch of royalties that we'll be taking a look at today. But anyways, now let's get back to these sets. Now, set number 2 was Bob's Big Boy, which is actually a restaurant in Burbank, California, and the only figure that I got from that one was this one here, the Big Boy Burger. This one here was just a regular Legendary, and it's limited to 1,500 pieces, so a little bit rarer than some of the regular Legendaries we're getting now, and I think it's because it was one of the first sets, so they made it smaller. I am such a big fan of this one because I've actually ate at Big Boy before, and I think it's so cool to have the burger that I would have had while I was there. I also love how on the back of the box they show the card that you had to pull to get it. It makes it pretty unique and kind of special if you still have this online. This one here also just reminds me of a lot of the Foodies characters that they've created, where they have the arms as well as the face and the shoes. It's just so fun. Now, those ones that I just showed you were from the first 2 sets ever created, but now we're going to be skipping a few because I haven't been able to get figures from every drop. So the next one that I've got is actually from the Bob Ross set, and what I love about this one here is that he's actually paint splattered. It's so fun. It's limited to 1,200 pieces, and I love the way they did it, especially because he's inside of a giant paint bucket, and then it says Happy Paint on the front. And again, very similar to the last one, you can check out the card on the back. And I mean, come on, look at how crazy that is with all the colors. I think one of my favorite parts of this entire thing, and it is kind of covered by paint, but you can see that it says phthalo green, a color that he would use all the time. Now we've got Nickelodeon Series 1, because there is another Nickelodeon series later down the road that we will talk about. And the 2 that I was able to get from Series 1 were the Slimed Arnold Shortman, as well as the Slimed Freddy Funko. What I love about these 2 here is it's like they were at the Nickelodeon's Kid Choice Awards, and I think it is so fun that they did this, especially because, and now that I think about it, I wonder if Arnold was ever actually slimed at the real Kids Choice Awards. I mean, they've had cartoon characters there before because of the amount of animated shows they have on the channel, and then the Freddy is just so fun as well. He actually has a Kids Choice Award in his hand. Also, you know how we talked about earlier, most of the Freddys and Funko characters are the royalties? Well, this was actually the royalty for the set, and then I believe the Arnold Arnold here. Yeah, it's 1,550 pieces. It was just a legendary. Now, here's a fun one. This is the Kellogg set that released in 2022. And what I love about these ones here is that we got a bunch of mascots that we've never seen before. Coco the monkey, as well as Tony the Tiger Jr. That's right, there's a Junior. What I love about these ones too is that there's some really fun stuff going on, like Coco the monkey's wearing his little bucket hat, and then we also, of course, have Tony the Tiger Jr. with his little baseball cap on too. And if I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know there was a Tony the Tiger Jr. until we saw this one here. I actually looked it up, and I guess he's in some old advertising. And now I'm sure you're wondering about the middle one, because this here was the royalty, Freddy Funko as Diggum, which is so fun because I have the original Diggum Frog Pop, so it's cool to now have this one to go along with it. Well, actually, now that I say that, I've had this one for about 2 or 3 years now, but still, it's really cool to have, and I'm glad Funko made one. Oh, and if you're wondering about the other two, the Tony the Tiger Jr. was the Grail, so there is only 999 of this one available, and then this one here, Coco the Monkey, is limited to, I don't actually know, it's a bit of a weird one, 1,640 pieces. This is a legendary, a really fun character, and I'm glad to have these 3 in the collection. Now, everybody, we're getting a little bit spookier with this one because it is Funko Series 2. I know what you're thinking, Tristan, where was Series 1? Well, I wasn't able to get any from that set because they sold out quickly, but with this one here, I was actually able to get 4 from the set, which I am pretty excited about because we, of course, have Krampus Freddy, which is such an amazing one. I love the detail on it. Space Zombie Freddy, which is, again, a really crazy one. I love the way they did the broken glass on the front, as well as that kind of like alien on the helmet. Like, where did that come from? Then, of course, we have the Reaper Freddy with all of the skulls in the front, as well as the smoke around him, and these are all super limited. Let me check on these ones real quick. So Krampus is 1,550 pieces, and I think actually maybe they're all 1,550 because the Space Zombie is, and then this one here is, again, yeah, 1,550. So all 3 of them are super, super limited. And then when it comes to this Jack-O-Lantern Freddy over here, I think it's so cool because of the lollipop in his hand and how it's translucent, as well as the bag of candy, and this one here was the royalty. So if you're able to finish off the whole set, you got this. It had a few more pieces, actually at 3,000, so double the others, but still a crazy limited piece. Alrighty, we are jumping from Halloween to Christmas because we have the Buddy the Elf collection, and this is actually the first one I was able to get all of the pops for. If you guys don't know, I am a big fan of Elf, so when I saw that this was releasing, I was like, yeah, I gotta try to complete it. Bought as many packs as I could, and well, it paid off. If you want to check it out though, over here on the side, it's actually Freddy Funko as Buddy the Elf, and I love it because if you take a look on the back, it's actually him trying to go up the escalator. It's so fun. Then, everybody, we have Buddy eating noodles, and that one is so cool too, especially because he's got all of the chocolate and marshmallows, and I think there was also pretzels on it. There's just so much going on with this one. I love the amount of detail they put into it. Also, he's crisscross applesauce sitting on the chair. It's great. Then, everybody, we've got Jovi. What's great about this one is that it's the first time we've ever got her in her clothes like this at the end of the movie when she's in the North Pole. I think it's a really fun one because, like I said, we've never had it before. Then after that, we have Leon, who isn't in the movie for long, but I think is a fan favorite. After that one, everybody, we have Ming Ming, and I think this one was a really funny one to create as well because of the fact that it's actually the same actor that played Ralphie in A Christmas Story. And that's what's so great about the digital pops. We can get these weird characters that you wouldn't normally otherwise see. And then, everybody, on the end here, we have our first larger character for the Grail. This is so cool too because it's Buddy with Puffin on the iceberg as he floats away to go to New York City. I know you know the scene. Bye, Buddy. Hope you find your dad. Thanks, Mr. Narwhal. Oh, and again, if you're wondering on numbers, the royalty here was 2,000. The rest of them were 1,500, and this, of course, the Grail was $9.99. Now, right after the Elf set, Funko and Drop released this one here, the Retro Toys line. And if you guys don't know, I am a big fan of when they do the retro toys. So again, I had to have this set complete. And I'm hoping that they do a Retro Toys Series 2 because, I mean, come on. I would love more of these guys. I also know that they're watching this video, so if you have any ideas for other sets you'd like to see, pop them in the comments. But anyways, getting into this set, let's start on the side here with the royalty, which is actually Freddy Funko wearing a Hasbro shirt. I know, kind of weird, but he also has a Simon in his hand. I think it's a really cool crossover, because when would you ever see another company with a toy company shirt on? It doesn't happen often. Then, everybody, we have a Hungry Hungry Hippo, and this is the only time we've ever been able to get him is in this Retro Toys line here. So, again, again, so cool. Then we've got the Furby, though, and what's so cool about this one is that we got the Tiger Furby a long time ago, so now to have this one with kind of a rainbow fur, it's pretty different. After that, we've got that original classic Stretch Armstrong, where he's got like a weird like shirt and shorts on, but that's what he used to look like. And I know now, you're probably thinking of that kind of like, what are they even called? Like little blue spandex, and then he's got the really bright short yellow hair. This one is completely different. Then at the end here, we've got some really odd Mr. Potato Heads, because we have one Mr. Potato Head as Bumblebee, which is a legendary, a regular one that goes along with the rest of the set, but then the grail for this one was actually Mr. Potato Head as Optimus Prime. Honestly, some of my favorite drop pops, just because of how weird and wacky they are. Actually, this entire set is pretty strange, and that's why I love it. And again, for numbers, the Freddy is 2,000, these guys here are 1,550, and then that one, of course, $9.99. Now let's jump into the Teen Titans set, where the only figure I have is, well, the royalty, and it's still an amazing one. That's why I went for it. It is Freddy Funko as Beast Boy. I actually had an Aqualad, but the really cool thing is about drop is you can trade with people the cards that maybe you don't need, or if you want another figure more than the one that you pulled. It's honestly one of my favorite parts and how I'm able to finish so many of my sets, because maybe I got a double of, let's say, that Aqualad that I was talking about a second ago. I can trade that second one to somebody else for a different pop that I need. I definitely recommend that if you're trying to finish off a set and maybe you have some other cards, you're like, you know what, I have two of this one, it could go to a better home. And so anyways, that's how I was able to get this one. I got rid of the Aqualad and I traded it for this one, just because I love the Freddy Funkos and Beast Boy is one of my favorite characters, so yeah, I had to go for it. It's also pretty limited too at 2,500. Then after that, everybody, we had a Nicktoons set, and this one had just a bunch of different Nickelodeon cartoons, but actually, funny enough, very similar to the Teen Titans one, I was only able to get the royalty, which was Freddy Funko dressed up as Reptar. I have a lot of the Reptar pops, and I wasn't lucky enough to pull any of the legendaries or grails from my packs, but I was able to get enough of the regular cards to land myself this one here for the collection. It is a really fun one, and I love the crown on top of the Reptar suit, as well as the way Freddy's in the middle of it, and the arms sticking out like this. It's just like the show. I also love taking a look at the card on the back. You can see he's like popping out of the top. It's just so fun. Now let's get into the April Fool's set, where I was only able to get one of them, but this is a bit of a smaller set, so there was only 3 figures available. And I've got to say, out of the 3 of them, this one was definitely my favorite, because it is the egg, which definitely reminds me of that world record egg. Do you remember the Instagram account from years and years ago? That's gotta be what it's based on. It's also like just such an odd figure, because it's got the Funko crown, but then also like, it's just an egg with a face. Like, that's why I love these drop sets, because you get such odd figures like this. It's limited to 2,000 pieces, and again, taking a look on the back, like literally, the card is called Egg, that's it. Oh, and when we get to Series 2 of April Fools, there's a pretty funny one that goes along with this, but I won't spoil it yet. Let's just get into the next set, which is Flintstones, and I've got 2 of them here. Dino, as well as Fred Flintstone as a chef. Dino's really fun, because before this, the only way that you could get him was inside of the Flintstone mobile, where he can actually like walk on the ground. I would love to have that in the collection, but I don't yet, so this is a perfect way to get him. What's different about this one versus the original one is that he's got his tongue sticking out, and he's got a massive bone in his hand. You can even see it on the back. There he is with it. And then when it comes to the Fred, there has been other versions of him in the past, like the water buffalo hat, as well as the regular one, but him as a chef, we have never seen before this, and it is also the Grail, so it's limited to 999. When this Dino here, I don't actually know the number. 1,800. Pretty fun if you ask me. I don't know, there's just something about the Flintstones. I hope they keep making more. Now, everybody, we've got Adventure Time, and this is Adventure Time Series 1, because just a little while ago, they did Adventure Time Series 2. Because it released so recently, I'm not gonna be able to show those ones off today, even though I did get a good amount of those figures. But anyways, getting into this one here, we have Lady Rainicorn, and it's the only ever Lady Rainicorn they've created. What I really enjoy about the Adventure Time drops is that they do all of these really niche and random characters, which is so fun, because like one of the other ones was Peppermint Butler that I do not have, but I need to add to the collection eventually. And taking a look on the back, if you guys want to check this out, it's so fun how she's like flying in the air above the house. Do you see her in the back right there? It's just such a fun pop, and I love how they've got her coiled up as well, because if she wasn't, I'll tell you right now, she wouldn't have fit in the box, that's for sure. Steven Universe is the next set that I've gotten. What's cool about this one here is that I only bought like 1 or 2 packs, and I pulled a legendary. That's what's so cool about the drop sets, that all you have to buy is a standard pack with 5 cards, and you could pull an actual figure for your collection. Sapphire here is limited to 2,000, and again, very similar to a lot of other characters that we've talked about today, it is the only way that you can get her as a pop, which again is just so neat that they do that. Now everybody, we've got Jurassic Park, and I was such a big fan of this one when it first released because of the Grail. It was actually a mosquito in amber that I was able to get. They're just so interesting, and the amount of detail that all 3 of these have are so cool, and I never thought that they would be able to do a mosquito in amber without it being way too big or weird, but they really did pull it off. I love how it looks on the inside. And of course, when it comes to the other 2, there is just so much going on, like Dr. Ellie Sattler having her flashlight, and then like I mentioned, the dino in Dr. Alan Grant's hand. You really can't beat that. They're so neat. You know what, everybody? I almost forgot about this one too, because it was another set I was only able to get the royalty for, but this one actually released just after the Retro Toys and before the Teen Titans set. It is Sid and Marty Croft, and there was a bunch of great figures that came out for this one, but the only one I was able to get was this royalty here, and it is actually Freddy as Sleestak. I think out of the bunch, this one was definitely my favorite, so it totally worked out for my collection. It's just such a cool one. If you take a look on the back as well, you can see it says beware of Sleestak. Like, so much detail goes into every single one of the cards, along with the physical figures you get after. And if you're wondering on a number here, it's a little bit higher because it is the royalty, but still only 2,700, still a crazy low number. Back to the Future is next, and with these ones here, I got 4 out of, I believe, the 5 in the collection. Oh no, you know what? There was 6, because the royalty I wasn't able to get as well. That one there was Freddy Funko as Doc with his giant helmet on. That would have been a really cool one to pull. But anyways, the ones that I was actually able to get, we've got Griff 2015 with, again, a weird helmet, which is definitely fun, and I kind of want to take a look at this one again. Oh yes, he's got the shoes and the jacket, as well as that weird, like, extendable baseball bat. Like, why did they think that we were gonna need, like, a smaller amount of area for a bat? I don't know, beats me. Then, everybody, we have Lorraine in prom dress, and what's cool about this one, it's the only time you've been able to get a Lorraine. Same with that George, actually, that, again, I wasn't able to get. Oh, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it here, I mean, every single one of these outfits are different. There was a few similarities, like a Doc and Marty have already been able to get, like, in different sets, but if you want to get them in these specific outfits, it's only here. And actually, speaking of Doc, we have the 1885 one, which is a really fun character, especially because he has that giant blaster in his hand, as well as the massive, I don't know if it's like a cowboy hat or a fedora, but either way, it's pretty huge. These ones here, of course, are all legendaries, but then we have that Grail off to the side, which is the Marty Undercover. He's got the sunglasses on, the walkie-talkie, the binoculars. He's being a real creep, that's for sure. I mean, as much of a creep as you can be on yourself, but you know what I mean. And then down at the end here, everybody, we have the Grail, which of course is Marty Undercover. And what I love about this one is that he's got the binoculars in his hand, the walkie-talkie in the other, the giant sunglasses and the hat to be a little bit, well, of course, undercover. Oh, and where are my manners? Before we move on, the legendaries here are 1,900 pieces. Now we've got Funko Series 1, and come to think of it, I may have called the Halloween Series 2 Funko Series 2, but either way, this one here is Funko, and the last one that we took a look at, that was just Halloween. Even though you could kind of consider them all Funko because it is the Freddy characters dressed up, but either way, getting into this one here, we have the royalty first, which is Proto as a zombie. What I love about this one is that he's actually holding his arm in his other arm. There's nothing on it, it's just bone. Pretty fitting for a dog, if you ask me. And then we, of course, got Freddy Funko as Zombie Ninja. With all of these, just have so much detail. I think it's really crazy the amount that they're able to do. After that, though, we have Freddy Funko as Zombie Gunslinger. Again, a really cool one. What I love about the hat on that one, I don't know if you noticed, but he actually has like a coffin shape with a Freddy, like, little crown in the middle. I guess not a Freddy one. I mean, Freddy wears it all the time, but it is just a Funko crown. Then we have the Zombie Knight, which is so cool. I love the sword as well as the shield and the way they did the helmet as well as the cuts across the face. It almost looks like a sword was slashed right through him. And then when it comes to that Grail, the 999 piece, we have that Zombie Samurai Freddy. And what I love about this one too is that it glows in the dark. And actually, now that I think about it, I believe all of them glow in the dark. Yeah, they do. It's a little hard to see from the other side. But they definitely do glow, and that is a really cool bonus for these figures because they look so amazing in the dark with that bright green color. Now let's take a look at Squid Game. And what I love about the two that I have here, it's Sung Gi-hun with red hair as well as, of course, the front man. Both of these ones are super sought after. And what I love about Sung Gi-hun is that it's limited to 2,000 pieces. So pretty rare for a regular legendary. But of course, when it comes to the front man, you'll notice it is 999 pieces. So that's why we've got it in a hard stack here. Both of these are just so amazing, and there was a couple other figures that you could have got from the set, but these were the only two I was lucky enough to get, and honestly, they're probably my favorites, so it works out. And even if they weren't, like I mentioned earlier, I could have probably traded for another one that I enjoyed more, but these, like I said, are perfect. Now, everybody, we've got Harry Potter, and these ones here are specifically from the Tri-Wizarding Tournament, and there are some really great figures to come along with it. Like, first up over here, we have the Royalty, which is Freddy Funko as a Death Eater. It's got the mask in the one hand, and you can see Freddy underneath the hood, as well as the wand as well. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Then, though, everybody, we have Victor Crumb with Shark Head. This is from when they're swimming around underwater, and speaking of swimming around, we also have the Merperson as well as Fleur Delacour. Both of these ones here are from the exact same game, and what I love about the Merperson is that they actually made it floating. It is so cool. They also made the hair kind of seem like there's water around it. It's really neat. Then everybody taking a look at Fleur Delacour a little bit closer up, you can see that she even has that mask around her face, so there's like, you know, like air underneath the water, and the way that Funko was able to do that, it is just so crazy. I love the detail on it. Like, I don't know what it is, there's just something about it that I enjoy. It really does just look like it's floating there in the front. And then everybody, we have the Hungarian Horntail, and this one here isn't the Grail. I actually wasn't able to get the Grail. Normally it is, well, it is, I'm not saying normally, it is Harry Potter, and that one's so cool, but yeah, I wasn't lucky enough to find it. It's just so hard to get sometimes. Like, really, I have been lucky with a lot of the Grails that I got, so when it came to this set here, I mean, hey, I got lucky with a lot of other figures instead. And anyway, so this one here, he's got the egg in the front. I love the base on it as well, and he's kind of like got his wings up. It's a super tall pop, and I think that's why I enjoy it so much. Now, Fantastic Plastic is Funko's very own characters that the artists have created over the years, and they actually made an entire set about them, so I got 3 out of the 4 that you were able to get. This first one here is Freddy Funko as Amazing Carlos, and what I love about this one, he's got his tongue out of his mouth, a little crown on top of the helmet, and he's drinking out of an oil can. Then everybody, we've got Juan Calavera, and I love that he's a skull, as well as the sombrero and the maracas. It's a really cool figure, and at the end here, we have Carl. It is, you know, of course, Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster, with a fire in his hand, or like a torch. It's really cool. There's also just something about the way they did him and how he's just so stylized. Actually, with all 3 of these guys, they've got a really neat style to them. Funko does a great job. Space Jam is next up, and with this set here, I got most of them. The only one that I missed was Daffy Duck. I know, kinda sad, but hey, we still got a lot of other really cool figures, with this first one here being the Royalty, and it is Freddy Funko as, well, a Toon Squad player. It looks like he's jumping in the air about to dunk the basketball. It's a really cool pose that they put him in. Then, everybody, we have M2 Purple Monster, which I believe actually has a name on the front of this here. Yeah, Bupkis, but I remember there was a thing where they had changed it to his real name about halfway through, so if you take a look at the front, there it is, Bupkis, but then if you flip it around on the card, it actually says M2 Purple Monster, because that's what it would have looked like if you pulled it. Then everybody, we've got Lola Bunny, which is another fan favorite. I know a lot of people are a big fan of her, and especially because you get her with the basketball, it is pretty unique. Then we've got Strong Bugs, and I love that one because it's so funny when they're in the locker room and he like totally buffs up like that. It's a well done figure too. And I think one of the craziest details they put on a pop is this Swack Hammer here, because if you take a look, he actually has all of the Nerd Lucks in front of them, and I believe there's 5? Yeah, 5 in total. If you don't know, some of them would be like M3 Blue Monster or M2 Purple Monster or Bupkis right here. Like, these guys are originally looking like these guys. So cool that they were able to include them, because otherwise, I don't know how they would have done it. Like, maybe one of them a little bit bigger, but it's just so much better with all together. Star Trek The Next Generations is next up, and I was able to get 2 from this set. We have Worf as well as Wesley Crusher. Both of these ones are really great figures, because we haven't got Star Trek The Next Generation pops in a while, and I don't know if we've ever got a Worf. Okay, for sure we've never got a Wesley Crusher, but a Worf, at least it's a nice updated version of him, and they've got him with the blade in the front, so it's definitely different if they had done one in the past. I enjoy it. And then funny enough, when it comes to the Wesley Crusher one here, I'm actually just a big fan of Will Wheaton because of other television shows, so when I saw this one was coming out, I knew I had to pick it up. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, The Big Bang Theory, he was on that as a reoccurring guest. It was pretty funny. Like, if you ever tried to go to willwheatonsucks.com, .net, and .org, I definitely have. Now we've got Star Wars, and with this set here, it's kind of interesting because very similar to that Buddy the Elf, the Grail one that we talked about earlier, this is the only set they've ever done where they're all larger deluxe characters. It was a really neat way of doing it because it gave them a little bit more of a scene. So for this C-3PO here, it's actually when he's on the Millennium Falcon and they're about to turn him off because of how annoying he's getting. And with these ones here, you can probably see it already, but the bases, they're all chrome. Kind of reminds me of the old Wacky Wobblers that Funko used to make, because whenever they would do a chase, the difference was the base was this shiny chrome color. So maybe it was a nod to that, I'm not exactly sure, but either way, it is just such a cool addition to the figure. And then when it comes to Darth Vader, he's got his arm cut off, and you can tell he's on the Death Star. It's right around the time when he's fighting Luke, and if you want to take a look on the back, what else is really cool, to look kind of like the older cards, like the ones you could actually get physically, you can see that's what the borders look like for these ones here. Oh, and now also, something that I wanted to mention before we continue is how you're able to claim these pops before you actually get them in person. Because it's a little bit different than just ordering from, let's say, Funko.com. You actually have to go on once you've got the card during the redeemable time. Once they've given you enough time to complete the set, which is usually about a month or two, they'll hand out tokens which you can use to redeem for these actual pops. You'll then have to go on, and whatever tokens you have in your account, you can say you would like those shipped. And they also give you an option if you want a protector as well. That's why some of the ones that I have are in hard stacks. It's just something to note because if you don't do that, you won't get your figures and they will burn them entirely once the redemption time is up. And that's again usually about a month or two that you have to do that. And so if you have a figure that you've got a redeemable for, I would definitely recommend checking on the card at the bottom because it'll tell you exactly when these things are going to happen. Speaking of hard stacks, this entire set is in them. And if you guys are wondering what a hard stack is, it literally is just the plastic that goes around these, and it really does help in shipping, so that way if you get this one in, there's no chance it's going to damage the box. And anyways, this one here that we've got is April Fool's Series 2. And do you remember how last time we had the world record egg? Well, in this set here, that egg is hatched, and it's now a chick! I think it's so fun that they included some of the actual egg from the first set, like how the top and bottom is still there, and he's just like cracked out of it. And do you know how a second ago I was talking about burning the stuff? Well, that's actually what happens if they don't sell out. So say there's like, 10 or 15 packs left over, they will burn those ones so you can't actually open them once the sale is over. And so for this April Fool's drop, they actually made a burning pack, which I think is so funny. Look at them. Then everybody, if you're wondering what the royalty is, it's actually Balloon Proto, which is again such a fun one. I love how it actually looks like a balloon, especially the crown and how they did it. And like when you get like a balloon animal or something, it's usually a dog. Well, there it is. Then for the Grail, everybody, we have Pop-A-Sit Freddy, because normally Funko Pops have giant heads, but when it comes to this one here, it is so tiny. And when I saw that this was coming out, I knew I had to try and get it while I was opening up packs. Hey, I happened to grab one. Now we're getting into Warner Brothers Horror, where I was actually able to get 4 of them for this set, starting with the Accordion Monkey, which is such a great one. I love the glasses as well as the 2 different colored eyes, the little hat he's got on, as well as, of course, the accordion and how it's stretched. It's really well done. Then everybody, we have the Goat Demon. Definitely a creepy one, but the way they've got like the arms in the front, I don't know, it just looks so accurate. And of course, everybody, we have Pazuzu, which is like that gargoyle statue, and it kind of looks like it's made of sand. I don't exactly know what it is made out of, but like, I mean, come on, if that isn't sand, maybe it's like a stone? I'm not sure. And of course, everybody, we have the Grail. I was able to get that one, which I'm so excited about. It is the Ferryman, and what's so fun about it is that the coins are, well, the eyes, I kind of spoiled it a little bit, the eyes are actually made of coins, which is just so interesting. And then the lantern also glows in the dark, a great detail. Funame is next up, and you remember how earlier I was talking about Mythic packs? Well, this was actually the first set that you could get a Mythic pack in. I was actually able to get one of the packs, and thank you to Funko and Drop for the help with that. Now, I don't have the figure yet, which was actually a 10-inch Battle Mech Freddy, because it hasn't shipped yet. The cool thing is, though, I do have the rest of the characters that I got, so we can talk about those. And the first one we've got over here is the Ultimate Freddy, which was the royalty. Then we have Celestial Franny, which is such a cool one. I love the glasses on that and how they're translucent. And we have the Fun Force Freddy to go along along with it. One thing though that I wish, and on the back of the box here, it actually shows the Fun Force Franny and Proto. So if they ever make a Series 2, I would love those guys. And everybody, we of course have the Grail, which is Kaiju Proto. So detailed. I love the way they made him look like another Kaiju, as well as how they've got like the broken building in his hand. There's just so much detail. I also love the collar and then the little crown on top. Okay, now we've got ScoobyDoo, and these are some really fun ones that I enjoy because the royalty for this was Proto as ScoobyDoo. It's almost like he's wearing a onesie, which I think is so cool. Like he's got like a hood on with a little green crown. It's just such a fun way to do it. He's also got little Scooby snacks and even one on his tongue. Then actually we're getting into another type of pop that I mentioned at the beginning, but it's the first time we're seeing it in person. This here was an Ultra. So this ScoobyDoo in disguise, there was actually, I believe, 5,000 that you could get. Yeah, 5,000 pieces. So it was a little bit easier, and I actually ended up getting a few of this one, but we're only showing off the one today because all of the other ones are exactly the same. And that's kind of what's cool about an Ultra. You know, you can almost get one every time. Like, I was getting them like crazy because of the amount that there were. So you're definitely getting your value's worth if you want to just open up like 1 or 2 packs. Then everybody, we have the Headless Spectre. Such a unique pop. And what's cool about it too is that even though he's missing a head, they made him a little bit taller to be more like a regular figure size. And I think that is just such an interesting way to do it, especially because he does have that little candle in his hand with a flame on top. So even though he doesn't have a head, he makes up for it in detail. They did a great job with them. Now here's a pretty big set, everybody. Batman's 85th anniversary, where I was able to get all of them. That's right, I have all 6 in front of me, starting over here with the Freddy Funko as Nightwing. This one, of course, was the royalty. Then we have our second Ultra of the video. This one here is Batman. What I like about it too with the Ultras is that they make it the main character or a more known character from the series. It's a bit nicer that way, so maybe if you get an extra, you've got 2 Batman and you really can't complain. Then everybody, we have Robin, which is a really cool one. And what's up with these ones here, if you don't know, is that it's supposed to be like it's their suits inside of like the case where they would sit before they go out and fight crime. So that's why there's like the clear bits holding up the masks as well as the cowls. And anyways, after Robin, we have Batgirl, and then after that, we've got Batwoman. Similar in name, but definitely different in suit. And I also really enjoy how they have that kind of like light up bit in the back, and I believe these glow in the dark. I might be wrong about that. No, they definitely do. And I would love to see that in the dark, like how it looks actually through the clear bit. I'll have to test that out sometime. These ones actually just came in the other day, and I haven't really had time to talk about them or take a look at them, so this is the first time we're checking them out. And then, everybody, we have Alfred. It's one of the only times that you've been able to get Alfred, and it's actually the first time you've been able to get it from Batman the Animated Series. And what I like about this one, too, is that he's not like his suit inside of the thing. He's actually dusting them off because that's his job. He's around the Batcave. And now, everybody, the Disney Afternoon, where I was able to get 2 of them for this set. Well, actually, I got a bunch of the Flintheart Gloom Gold because it is the Ultra. I think I ended up with about, like, 8 of them. It was crazy. So anyways, I'm just showing you the one for today, but what I love about it is that it's him with his, I guess, like, he's got his kilt on, as well as his hat, and then, of course, he has his cane. It's so well done. And then the only other one that I was able to get was Quacker Jacket. It's funny enough because I only got 1 of this figure when I got so many of the Flintheart Gloom Gold, so it really just depends on the set when you're opening these up. You could get a bunch of one, you could get none. It really depends. And well, anyways, everybody, there we go. That is all of the digital pops that I have for you today, and I cannot wait to see what they come up with in 2025. Because I know that they are making some big changes. Like, for example, you know, actually earlier we were talking about the burned cards and packs. If they don't sell out of them, not everybody will be able to get, say, a Grail that's limited to 999 pieces. And so instead of putting the most amount of pops that can be claimed, they're going to be putting exactly how many were claimed. So if there's 999, maybe only, you know, 997 of them are actually out there. And they're going to reflect that on the sticker, which is going to be so cool to see. They're also going to be putting on the sticker if it's an Ultra, Royalty, Grail, or Legendary, which is, again, so cool. So again, I cannot wait to see what they're going to be coming up with this year. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you to Funko and Drop for sponsoring. And again, if you guys want to check out the website with all of the drops, I will definitely have it linked in the description down below. But seriously, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow. Huh, that took a long time.